Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Carrie, would you like to do the roll call attendance, please?
Commissioner Cade, I believe, is absent today.
Yes. He's
Commissioner-
excused.
Excused
Yeah,
absence,
okay.
yes. Commissioner Johnson,
Here.
Commissioner Kelly,
Here.
Commissioner Oakes,
Here.
Commissioner Ertley,
Here.
Commissioner Schreiber,
Here.
Commissioner Sloan Buchanan.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay,
Six
thank
and
you. All right, and next we have the Pledge of Allegiance. Could we all stand, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The next item is public and employee comments. Do we have any, Carrie?
nothing at this time.
No?
Really?
Okay. And the next item is the local 3438 report. Do we have a report? Yes, we do.
First, thanks to Randy for the technical assistance. No laptop today. Wanted to open with thanks for giving us a comment section as usual. And the local wants to really express gratitude to the commission and chief for working so hard to staff up these support positions that we just filled. I think chief will probably have more information about it today, but it was a lot of work. It was a lot of off-cycle work that all of us did. And it took a bit of a grind to get it done, but the people that landed in those positions are really excellent for them, and they're going to take this agency really far. So I'm excited. We are excited as a labor group. Some quick updates. We're coming into holiday season, and your labor group's spinning up to do the Santa Run. That community engagement we do every year where we collect all the food and supplies for the needy in the region. We're really excited to do that, and we're hoping we can see you guys out there as well. Additionally, we've found a family with 7 kids in need. We're going to be supporting them for Christmas this year, so that'll be food, presents, stuff like that. Depending on the day, we can sometimes take a fire engine to drop it off, and depending on what the family wants. So that's, good stuff that the labor group's out there doing. We're kind of wrapping up the year on training and things like that, and kind of setting into holiday cruise control. We try and get everything done a little bit ahead of time so we can just do daily stuff around the Christmas time and kind of let the crews relax, see their families in the stations. So yeah, we really don't have a whole lot. Just wanted to say thanks for all your support, and happy holidays from the labor group.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Okay, the next item is I need a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, that motion carries. And next we have, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I move.
Holly?
Second.
Greg? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Next we have the quarterly division presentation on the training center.
Ready? Good evening. Thanks for having me tonight. So this is the third quarter training report that I prepared for you guys tonight. So we'll just kind of go down what's going on. I would echo Kirk's sentiments. I know for myself, certainly, and MSA Hickman, greatly appreciated to kind of wrap up the year and head into 2025 with some help with some of this stuff, which I think will get us even better. So the next slide. So for the quarter, yearly is required to get 120 hours. Our folks do a much better job of that than I would say probably any fire department around, if I'm being honest with you. So we spent 7,635 hours in training in a quarter, 135 hours average per member. And some of this stuff, is outside classes and some college classes and stuff. So some folks are higher than others, but on the average, we're aiming for probably 10 minimum, up to 20 hours on all disciplines that we do in a quarter. So our folks at the end of the year, when I run the report, we're going to average probably around 500-600 hours per member when 120 is required. So we're doing well, right on time, wrapping up a couple mandatory things that we're working on. So next slide. We sent 3 folks to Rescue Systems 1. This is a class that you used to get coming out of the academy. It was kind of discontinued. We have folks clamoring for it. We finally were kind of able to find a local one. It is pretty expensive, but it's also a pretty important class, improving our capabilities. Last time I reported in Q2, when we finally finished up, we have rope bags on every rig to be able to do 3-to-1 rescue systems, so we can do all of our in-house call, low angle rope rescue stuff. So we're just adding, this time 3 folks on top of that to be able to assist that to become, a little more expertise in the area. And then always my goal with folks that do that is to, kind of the edict to them is when you come back, you have to share this stuff, right? We sent you to do it, but it's not just for you, it's for the organization. So they learned a lot. Here's firefighter paramedic Welk, rappelling off the training tower down at Snohomish County Fire District 4. So they do rope rescue, some cribbing, some shoring, a bunch of stuff that's really great for our community. So those 3 folks were chosen this year. Hopefully we'll be able to add upon that moving forward. And it's something that especially young members will just get really excited about and be on the team. So we wrapped that up. That was just like last month. Battalion Chief Company evaluations, which we've been doing for a while, but they got a little bit inconsistent there for a little bit with trimester testing and just kind of overwhelmed with stuff. So we got back on it this quarter. When I took over, this is just really one of my main goals for these, low frequency, high risk calls. Our community expects us to come out and perform well. We have, I think I looked at it the other day, 40 to 45% of our folks are 6 years or less. So, sharing this it's not easy. I mean, we have 20-ish, 30 people that are probably 2 years or less. So trying to get this where we are a very standard operating organization, doing things and functioning similarly across the shifts and crews. So this quarter was the focus was on fire in a single family residence, which for us is what our structure fires. That's 90% or better of what we go on is fire in single family residences. So the evaluation process including kind of compliance with radio traffic, proper assessment of the conditions, appropriate deployment of resources, which up at the training center, it's a fantastic thing. It's as best as we can simulate those activities. So on the next slide, this took a while, but compiled all the data. So every officer from every shift kind of basically got a scorecard on what they did. And like I said, with simulated conditions, sometimes, they missed something or we weren't able to simulate the conditions quite as well as we wanted to. But for the most part, just kind of going through there, we had about 98% compliance with the things that company officers are supposed to be doing as far as recognizing conditions, pushing folks into the proper positions that they're supposed to be in, and then resource determination. So what happens with all this is that we want this to translate into, when we have a real call, can we make this happen? So he doesn't know it, but he's sitting in here today. So Acting Captain Bonacisi, this is, 3 weeks ago, probably we had a fire in Stanwood, kind of right up here behind the high school. He participated in this. So, the evaluation process, this is great. Simulated conditions. We want to know, when we go out on the street and have a call, does this work, right? And so the next slide, we're just going to hear a little bit. It's kind of quiet, but we'll hear some radio traffic from Acting Captain Bonacisi.
SNOCOM from Engine 99. We're on scene. We have a small one-story Rambler. The work and fire. We pull a line. Fire control in the offensive strategy. Hold the alarm. We're on our own water supply, and this will be Stanwood Command.
899 level 1.
Copy level 1 and copy small one-story Rambler with working fire.
899 Stanwood Command. Go for primary search, please.
Receive primary search.
SNOCOM from Stanwood Command.
Stanwood Command.
360 complete. No basement. One storage from Charlie. No change to the IIP. We got water on the fire. And Engine 99 will be outside accountability.
So that's Acting Captain Bonus CC in action on a fire that started on the outside of a residence, spread to the inside. All the things that we talked about in the previous slide of, getting lines off the truck, getting water on the fire, getting primary searches done, did a fantastic job, and all the crews, that were coming in afterwards, showing that we're able to take that training and translate it into real world stuff. They made a really nice stop on this house fire. All the crews did great. For me personally, it was on my shift, but water on the fire is not part of Blue Card, but it was one of my edicts as a battalion chief, so I was even happier to see that. But so just that we're being able to take training from the training center out there and take it into the field, and it's really coming to a spot where we're, I tell these guys all the time, when you hear a fire on the radio, every other firefighter in the county is switching their radio to hear what's going on. And I'm proud to say that these folks, captains, acting captains, are functioning in a manner that has really improved, and super proud of them. So live fire instructor class. So I developed a curriculum. We had a need to kind of get a little bit better in what we're doing up at the training center as far as the function of how things work and the flow of it, making sure that everybody's safe. I put the curriculum together, and then myself, along with Assistant Chief Allen from Camano Island, who has a lot of experience in their live fire prop out there, presented the classroom portion on one entire day. They had some actually homework before they came in, and then we had all these departments. So our department, Tulalip Bay, Camano Island, Marysville, South County, Snohomish Regional, Granite, and Everett all had representatives there. Some of them had multiple people there. I think we had 20 to 22 folks there. We ran them through the live fire, all the portions of command and safety, through that in a 2-day process, gave them all certificates, which also made them certified dragger instructors at our facility. So kind of a dual certification. And then, I don't know if it's on the next slide, but yeah, so I went up to the training center they were doing live fire up there for the full-time academy. And that was kind of one of my, Chief Cermak knows, I shared just a little bit of a frustration that I was a little bit concerned that we were, at a little bit of risk because some of the things were kind of, sliding by a little bit. And when I went up there this last time, it was just noticeably improved with on the right side for me. You see the command boards, and they do a fantastic job of rotating through, making sure that there's safety, decontamination, all of these things, really good. So I appreciate there were several members of the full-time academy that attended this class, and I sent an email to their chiefs that's commending them on improving the workflow, and then also I think our exposure to any safety risks that's going on up there. So EMS and outside training. We all know, right, it's been a subject of much controversy of what's going on. Myself and MSA Hickman have already had conversations, and with the onboarding, or however you want to say, I guess not technically promotions, but folks moving into these new roles, that we're going to be able to expand this, the BC company evaluations that I do for fire. We're going to maybe try to think about that for EMS and say, here's our focus for the quarter. Here's some things where things we need to work on, maybe get a little bit better at, always evaluating, what's good, what's bad, how can we improve, and then working on those things with MSA Hickman. There's a plan to get a rig where we would really just drive up and show up to a station and say, that this quarter was, whatever the subject matter is, and jump in the rig here and show me your stuff, right? Putting a little pressure on folks, because I know the public and everybody out there, right? You pay and you want us to come and perform well, and we do, right? But there's just always room for improvement. And then I also just want to recognize we have a lot of folks that pay to go to their own training, right? Things that I choose to not pay for because I'm not sure it's super. We're not going to get the value out of it coming back here, but they go out and they get some really good ideas, and they do bring some stuff back. So just recognize those folks that really take it upon themselves to go out there to continue their education and training. That is all I have for you, unless you have any questions.
Actually, last year, right after the training center started, I don't think we were more than 2 months, might have been 2 weeks into it, and we had a malfunction of a door in the fire thing, and there was an injury, which I know you know what that was about. But since that time, has there been any similar serious incident like that? I mean, there might have been some minor little stuff, but is there been any more serious occurrences?
So I will say, since this class that we put on this current academy, there's been no burn injuries, nothing. I mean, the workflow that's going on up there, the fuel loads that are being put in there,
Uh-huh.
and then like I said, I just want the FTA group that is in charge up there,
Okay.
right? They were actually got a little bit frustrated or mad at me, and I was just like, we just have to improve this, right? We want firefighters to train, we want them to do that, but this has to be, as
Right.
safe as we can make
Sure.
it. So, no injuries at this
Excellent.
this
Okay.
academy.
All
So,
right, thank you.
great improvement.
That's good.
yeah,
That's great. To
and
hear.
then kind of plan on hopefully putting that class on again here early next year. So,
Right. Okay. Thank you.
all right, thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, the next two items we have are public hearings. And so we have, the first one is the resolution on the property tax.
That'll be Randy.
I'm not sure. It didn't. Thank you, Randy.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically what we're doing, we did it in the last meeting as well. We hold a public hearing to give our citizens a chance to give any input they like, or employees, as to the budget, and specifically the two levies that we're going to levy for next year's property and EMS levies. So we allow you to go ahead and open up a public hearing and see if anyone has any input.
So I will open the public hearing and ask if there is anyone from the public that wishes to speak.
On either issue, right?
I want to do them one at a time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Well, yeah.
That's what I'm asking.
Okay, so no one wishes to speak for that one. So we'll close the public hearing on that and open the public hearing on the second item, which is on the EMS tax. Does anyone have any comments from the public? Okay, there's no one commenting, so we will close the public hearing on that. Thank you. Okay, the next item is unfinished business. And the first, we have a proposed motion for a professional services agreement with ABK Accounting and Consulting, LLC. Allison Judd is not here.
Yes, Allison's not able to join us tonight.
Okay.
So I'm filling in for her.
Okay.
Yes, she put together a contract with ABK Accounting and Consulting. We have a couple issues we'd like some outside help on, just to make sure we've kind of identified what we think the issues are and the dollar figures attached, but we'd like some outside professional advice and just to look over. That way, the labor group's happy, we're happy. We all know that a third party's looked at it and we're all happy with the review, and we agree on all the numbers and the settlement of how that all comes out. So Allison conducted some interviews and felt this was our best option to work with us on this issue. We're asking up to $30,000. Part one, the overtime analysis would be done this year. We'd like to get that settled and taken care of in this year's budget. And then the second part is the L&I related issue, and that will take a little longer. We'll do that in early 2025. So.
Are you telling us that you don't want to work 8 hours of overtime a day after your regular shift for the next 2 months?
I would if that's what you asked of me, but,
yeah.
but it's nice to get some outside help once in a while.
Okay,
as well.
I just
So,
want-
equates to own time.
yeah.
Okay,
But,
well, I
yeah.
just wanted to clarify that. So
just for the up and up, we think it'd be good to have a rubber stamp from
No.
an outside agency.
Absolutely.
And that's, just
Take a
to
look at it.
clarify, that's also at, our legal's recommendation. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
to get a specialist in tax accounting to ensure that we do it correctly.
Chief,
For
can you
sure.
turn your microphone on, please?
Okay. Good.
Were there any other questions before I ask for a motion? Do we have a motion?
I move to authorize a professional services agreement with ABK Accounting and Consulting LLC for an amount not to exceed $30,000 It's substantially the form is presented.
Second.
Second.
Was that Leonard?
Yeah.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, that motion
Well, that's a
carries.
good
Thank
idea.
you.
Thank you, Randy.
The next item under new business is the proposed property tax and EMS tax resolutions. This is the second reading presented by Randy Crown.
Well, unfinished business first,
I just skipped right over that, didn't I? Okay,
but she's not here, so.
the compensation study update. Compensation benefits philosophy statement pending HR Director Allison Jubb, but she's not here, so.
I'm going to step into that.
Okay.
If I can possibly
Okay.
do this, but we're going to put a PowerPoint up that coincides with the staff report that you have. Staff recommends adoption of this proposed compensation and benefits policy statement for NCRFA's non-represented employees as presented, or following commission discussion as amended through selection of one or more options provided for board members. As you recall, we ran into a challenge with compression between non-represented group and the represented group that really doesn't offer a method to allow a pathway from the labor group into management. And because of the compression of compensation and benefits between the two, it prevented us from making a promotion or someone accepting a promotion into a higher level that ensued into a discussion with commission and a survey asking what our philosophy was regarding our pay and benefit compensation that needs to happen. So with that, will you go to, we'll start with the best, the option recommended by our HR director is option 1. And essentially that we are targeting the upper 2/3 of comparable markets for each job group. This is consistent with the the target pay points for the union positions above the middle of the market, but not necessarily paying at the top. And this is sort of surrounding what Allison provided to you as a survey to ask what our real philosophy is. And between these three options, this was the recommended middle of the road option. Was option 1 was a blend of basically coming together with all of your survey outcomes. So it uses different market comparables for by job group. And this is a consistent recommendation for all three options because to find an HR director, not all fire departments have an HR director. They may be close to the same comparable within a certain amount, but they don't necessarily have an emphasis on HR yet. So there's not a huge pull to draw from. So you often will go into private industry, and we were fortunate to recruit Allison from PUD, which is a much larger agency. So she brings in some special skill sets that'll take us into the future. We have Randy, who came from the city of Lake Stevens, and we were able to recruit him as part of special skill sets. This option also identifies compression and pay and benefits with internal positions. It adjusts pay and benefits with this in mind, but not intended to match the union benefits unless warranted, and benefits comparable to the median of other public agencies. That is the recommended one, and the philosophy statement that would go along with that based on your survey would be this here, and it's in your packet. So with that, we'll move on to the next one. It's in that staff report. Option 2 was a pay point targeted in the middle median of the market. This is lower than option 1 and lower than the pay target for the union positions. It acknowledges but does not necessarily resolve the benefit differences between the union and non-union markets internally. And quite frankly, this is where we ran into the problem of compression, was with the benefits that you transition from one to the other, made it not beneficial to move and move up in the organization. And so that being stated, this is the lower end of the three. It's scaled down benefits offerings. It's focused more on core benefits. For other benefits, provide market average or less, and depending on the cost. So this is not recommended. Option 2, we'll move on. This would be the philosophy statement that goes along with it here, that you guys would adopt. And again, remember, these are just concepts in this process. You would still have to approve the pay and benefits as we move forward. And so this is just philosophy to help guide us as we evaluate, no different than we're doing in contract negotiations with the labor group, is we look at everyone's comps and then we say, okay, where do we fall within this spectrum? And here's your recommended place. You as commissioners, your responsibility is to take the recommendation or deny the recommendation and say, go back and get your hands dirtier. So this would be if you said to go forward with option 2, this would be the policy and philosophy statement that we would be working under from an HR standpoint. Option 3 is the highest level, which essentially still has the 2/3. And Carrie, you were involved in this. Can you tell me which one is really the main difference between number 2 and this one?
This one is talked a little bit about reviewing benefits and having the ability to adjust people's salary scale in lieu of benefits. This was not recommended, or adjusting benefits needed to address partial or even full compression. Let's see. This one is the most aggressive as far as, right, like being aggressive to recruit and to accommodate pay compensation kind of aggressively with that union path to promotion. So
there's a stepping stone to have a reason why you would take on the risk of being non-represented and an at-will employee. So that said, this is the most aggressive in the 3 of them, and it does come at a cost, but it also is looking at how do you recruit and promote the best possible people throughout the organization. So the middle of the road, again, just because you say no to option 3 doesn't mean that you couldn't take on through option 1 and say, you know what, we're not being successful. As long as we're following the Washington Pay Equity Act and process, we can still address that from a board governance position. This again is more policy options to give us direction in developing a recommendation as staff for the board. Miss anything, Carrie?
no, I think that's right. I mean, I think really, again, if you took time to read over Allison's report, it's just adopting and owning as a group what the outcome of your survey was. So owning the benefits and compensation benefits philosophy statement, so that it gives Allison direction when she's doing the compensation study and then bringing the recommendations to you. Again, like Chief said, you would still be, approving and adjusting and negotiating and all the things. But the philosophy statement is what is her tool to best guide her in gathering data and giving you the best representation that represents where you said you wanted to be.
Well, and also it drives us into making sure, again, on this last process, the reason it took us multiple listings for the job was because if we stepped outside of the current actions of the way that we worked, we were now violating the Washington Pay Equity laws, which then put legal risk to the organization, and it is in which why we could not do what maybe was necessary. That this new policy statement allows HR to do that equitably to ensure that we're not violating anything else.
Okay.
Great.
Is this the compensation committee? Are they? Does this go to them, or have they been a part of this development of this language here?
To my knowledge, not
No.
as a separate meeting. So to my knowledge, again, and the reason for the rush timeline, apologies on behalf of Allison that she's out sick. I know she's been working around the clock on this.
Which might be why she's sick.
Probably.
But this is to, again, get her to the place that she can start working on this, the need to fill this non-represented position that needs to be filled, right? As quickly as possible. We're talking about the permanent MSA position, correct?
Yes.
Right. So in order for her to be able to do that, again, like what Chief just stated, she's got to look at the whole non-represented pay philosophy, and it has to be in line. So, no, I don't think she's met with the compensation committee separately, but she met. I know she met with several individuals.
She spent over an hour on the phone with me.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
on the same,
I-
the same
Some that
issue.
needed
I
help.
believe we were given direction because this was a
Time sensitive.
large issue and time sensitive
Yeah.
to, and Marilyn, correct me, I think the discussion happened between you and Allison to get this done and use
Right.
the whole board because of the sensitivity and of time and necessity to make something happen.
Exactly.
My guess is Commissioner Oaks, a pay scale or whatever supporting documents come in front of any recommendation. When it gets to that point, which is still a ways out, that step would of course probably go to the compensation committee first.
Okay.
Does that make sense? This is just your group global,
Philosophy.
She had to
Yeah.
pull,
Yeah,
yeah.
the committee may have a recommendation, but she had to pull each of you to get the survey and to get all of the information to come up with these three options. So that's why, one of the reasons why it was inclusive of the entire board rather than like Carrie shared, there's a high likelihood that on this next piece, unless a committee is going to take longer and result from us not meeting the timeline to have the next flyer and recruitment there, then we would likely put it to committee again.
I think it's an amazing amount of work. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really good work too, so. Are you ready for the
Are there
motion?
any other questions? Did Leonard or Al? I don't know.
No question.
No questions? Okay.
I
do we have a
move,
motion?
I move to adopt a non-represented employee compensation and benefits philosophy statement in substantially the form as presented.
Second.
Was that Leonard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I, just for clarification,
We
can
need an
I,
option.
can I
Yeah.
get
Well,
clarification on option one?
Yes, yeah, because it is, as presented, it says recommended option one, and so yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's good, you're clearing it, right. Yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, that motion
Great.
carries. Thank you. Okay. So next, under unfinished business, we have an update on District 21 RFP for paramedics. Chief Cermak?
I will just share that we had another meeting with Fire District 21. Commissioner Ertley and Oaks attended, and we had positive discussions. They did provide us a check for the 2 years of service, and I believe we walked out with a tentative agreement on the 3rd that they had no issues with maintaining the same process. I did forward the recommended changes to the settlement agreement back to them, so the ball is in Fire District 21's court to return that back to us. So that's what we know. We're going to meet again next Monday, not this coming Monday, but the next Monday, and we will be
The
meeting
9th.
here at 2:30.
I think it is 2:30 here.
Yeah.
I can look.
2:30.
And that's the end of my update, unless there's any questions.
No questions? Okay, thank you. Now we'll go to new business. And Randy, do you have your financial report?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Pardon me. Bring up on the screen and perhaps in front of you, we have the October financial report. So we'll cruise through this quickly. On page 3, you see our cash investments, just going back to 2021. And you can see we hit an all-time high at the end of October, about 16 million in all resources, cash and investments. Two reasons for that. One, we got our property taxes in for the second half, or a majority of them. Then we also got a true-up payment for GMT, which I'll discuss a little more here in a moment. The fourth page, you see the graph there. And on the very far end, you'll see where we're just right there at the 16 million mark. So quite a change in the last 3-4 years, how the funds have increased with the size of our operations and annexation of Arlington. On page 5, you'll see the general fund budget summary. We're 10/12ths of the way through the year, being through October, so we would be shooting for 83%. If we look at our revenues, we're already at 100% with the property taxes coming in, and then a grant, and then the true-up GMT payment. So we're looking good there. On the bottom side, we're dead on for total all expenses at 83%. A few departments are a little over, some are a little under, but overall we're right on target, so no big surprises there. Next page, you'll see our transport revenues. Pardon me. As I said, GMT, we did finally get our true-up about 4 or 5 months later than usual, but it was well worth waiting for. Came in at 1.16 million, which is about 2 to 3 times what we normally see for a true-up. So we were pleasantly surprised with that. A couple factors drove it to be larger. One is we had additional hiring in 23, and so those numbers flow into the calculations. Also, we buy a rig or an ambulance or a box, you know, what do we call those? No, where we just remount. A remount, that's what we call it. Yeah, that's it. And I think what happened probably is the payments of those came in the second half of 23 and the first half of 24. So that showed on our numbers we submitted as purchasing 2 aid cars. And so all those things combined just boosted our numbers that we were eligible for a greater true-up reimbursement. So that's all good. So now, obviously, we're going to be about 1.5 over what we budgeted on GMT. And then our transports came in just right about average last month as well. And that should be about 250,000 over. So combined, we're looking at about 1.7. The philosophy with the true-up is we want to make sure we stay in our next budget and all our budgets at our 25% reserve level. So those monies were already been moved to our reserve funds. And so we'll use what we need to make sure we're at 25% in next year's budget. And then whatever's left out of that will go trickle down to the capital reserve fund to buy future aid cars and EMS equipment. So that's a bit of good news.
Yeah.
Next page, you'll see our wage projections and overtime projections. On the top one, you'll see the red line is still below the green dotted budget line. So that's continues to be a good mark. The bottom chart is just the overtime. You'll see we finally caught up to budget and exceeded it. So we did so well all year long. We were under budget, but then summer came and wildland and just a little more activity than we thought there. So we are going to be a little bit over budget, about 135,000 projected for the year.
But to be clear, we recover that overtime from the wildland mutual aid. So we recover that funding from mutual aid back. So we did go over, but it is being recovered, and it usually takes about 3 to 4 months to.
That was the report I gave 2 weeks ago. We talked about how much we'll recoup for all of the labor costs. And we were over about 140,000.
Is your microphone on, Dave?
Dave's mic.
Thanks, Marilyn. That was the report I gave 2 weeks ago. We'll recoup all of the labor costs, and we'll recoup all of the equipment costs, which was about about $140,000, and it does take about 3 to 4 months to get.
That's good.
Yeah.
And that helps to recover the cost of our brush rigs, any future wildland investments that we want to make to enhance that program.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll see if I can pull those numbers and then show what the adjusted amount is after reimbursement from DNR and State Patrol for those. When we go to the next page, you'll see combined wage and overtime, and it looks like we're still projected to be about 750,000 under budget. So that's a good position to be in. So that's kind of the end of the financial report. This next one, just a reminder, when we talked about the budget, it seems like a long time ago now when we had the workshop 4 to 6 weeks ago. We were looking at what happens with the lid lifts. The first chart you'll remember is if the 6-year lid lift is, we do go ahead with that next year and it's approved. That's what our budget forecast looks like under our current modeling with personnel and equipment. If we go out just for the 1-year levy lid lift and it's approved, we're good for a year, and then by 2026, we need to make some adjustments, either cut back on expenses or personnel or whatever we need to do. And then, of course, if we don't go out for any lid lift or none of them are approved, is the other way of looking at it, we're also same boat. We're good for 2025, and then we have to make some tough decisions after that. So, just a reminder of what we looked at a while back. As far as the budget, we really haven't made any changes to it since we met for the workshop. Obviously, the CBA hasn't been finished, so I don't know what those numbers are. We haven't got any other significant input from insurance or anyone else that changed it. So at this point, we're just sitting tight on what we presented several weeks ago. And let's see. Oh, one other thing. Always questions about the training center. So the financial summary we presented a while back when Rob unfortunately missed it. We want to bring that back just to refresh your memory with what all the totals are. So we have it kind of by, the top chart is just all the revenues and expenses kind of by project, the purchase, the construction, the storage building, the strip mall. So that's broken out there. And then a summary by year, and then the funding summary. So that's there for your reference. And then finally, there's the last page was just some questions that were put together by the commission. I don't know that I need to go through them all, but I just want to prepare those for you. And
thank you.
I think you probably had a chance to review them in your packet, but is there any other questions or further explanations we could supply for you?
Real
Very
quick,
nice.
one thing I forgot in my report last week is in the pro forma that I provided and that we developed for why we would put the training center in place, as part of the breakdown of the cost and recovery of the training center that I didn't illuminate last time, was if we were to take the mandated training, and Chief Coombs did a really good job of talking about the benefits and the things that we are doing to make ourselves better with the training center, is if we were to send our crews 4 hours a month, I believe the report says, each crew 4 hours a month to get mandated or touch time on training rather than watching YouTube videos. If we sent every crew there and paid overtime to backfill them to go to another facility, rent their facility, that would have estimated out at about $375,000 at that time's wages. Our wages have gone up, so I would assume it probably went up to somewhere about $400,000 if we would have done it. The reality is that with the availability of training center usage, we would not have been able to get that rental, and we would have struggled with getting our own training as required by the mandates that we have to do training. The second piece is our people. Gabe Bonacisi just left. He is in a train the trainer program. We have, I think, 7, Chief Kuntz, 8 that are in the academy as either full-time instructors or shadow instructors to be full-time instructors. Those people become the experts in your organization, and they come back and really facilitate future training and personnel development, but operational efficiency. And I think what Chief Kuntz illuminated in his report this month is a direct action or reaction from all of the training that's happening, the emphasis that this Board of Commissioners has put on training in the hiring, and why I was hired for professional development is really showing when you hear things. And it made me smile to listen to that and how professional it was compared to what it might have been 10 years ago. So there's an unknown number inside of this report. If we would have rented another facility, you could have anticipated with overtime and everything that it would have been about $400,000 of cost to the agency. So we've already, with the money that we've brought in from other users of the facility and that money, we have well exceeded the amount of what it cost us to develop that.
Right. Excellent.
Yeah, thank you. I like the way you presented this too. That's very nice.
Thank you.
Just a question. Am I
Yes.
hearing correctly then that every firefighter is getting that training every year at our training center? When, did I hear you say like four hours?
We're well exceeding 4 hours at the training center per month per person, aren't we, Chief Coons?
Probably not per month, but they're certainly getting more than 4 hours a year.
Okay. And so we are getting reimbursed, like the academy is bringing people there?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, we will move on now to the next item, which is the proposed property tax and EMS tax resolutions, the second reading, presented by Randy Carton.
Yes, thank you. Commissioner, yes, before you tonight, we're bringing forth the two resolutions, which we held public hearings on earlier in the meeting. These we send to Snohomish County so they can set our property tax rates for 2025. And we, just in summary, property taxes, we have the 6% increase as from the 6-year levy lid lift passed 7 years ago. And so that's what we're proposing for this next year for property tax. And then we have the lawful maximum of 1% for the EMS levy. So we just need to get these sent in tonight.
Do we have any questions or discussions?
I'll make a motion that we move to approve resolutions 111322024-01 and 111322024-02, setting the property tax rates for 2025, and approve Finance Director Crum to complete and sign the levy certification form for 2025 taxes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No, that motion carries. Thank you, Randy.
And as Carrie may have mentioned, we need to hand sign that tonight. The assessor's office called me last week saying, hey, we haven't got your certifications yet. Where are we? Where are they? And I said, well, he goes, they're due the 27th. I go, well, that's a problem. We're meeting 4 o'clock on the 27th. So he goes, oh, no. But he said, go ahead and email them as soon as your meeting's over, and we'll still count them. So we'll get in by the.
Wet signature.
So where are you?
We will,
Before we leave, we'll take care of it.
Yeah, so
Okay.
before you leave, please
Okay.
sign
We
these
will get your
documents and we'll get them sent
No
off.
Okay.
one will leave this room.
Yes.
They're guarding the door.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, the next item is the resolution closing the SCEMS fund. And this would be Chief Cermak.
Randy, you want to?
I can do it, sure.
You
Either
sounded
way.
like you were about to speak. I didn't
Oh.
want to take away the
I
thunder.
didn't realize
Oh.
your name was on it, so.
Yeah, go ahead.
Anyway, for those who have been on the board for a few years, you'll recall we hosted the Snohomish County EMS board or group. Both physically, they rented space in Station 96, and part of it as a fiduciary, we also held their funds for them, helped them with their billing and collecting and those type of things. So now that they've moved on, they're hosted somewhere else. We have no more attachment to them. We've sent them all their money, so we had to set up a special fund at the county just to keep their funds separate, so we didn't commingle any of our money with their money and vice versa. But now that we're all done, the county requires us to pass a resolution closing that fund. So this is just a housekeeping item, if you would, please.
Any questions on this at all? No?
Just a point of clarification. So this is closing Snohomish County Emergency Management, or is it meant to be
Emergency Management Fund.
Services fund.
Yeah, medical, not
so it's
management.
medical, not managed.
Yes,
Oh,
medical.
did I put in the wrong thing?
I don't know. I did not.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Perhaps I
I
did.
think just a correction.
Not a
would be
fireman,
Snohomish
sorry.
County Emergency
Just a bean
Medical
counter.
Services.
Good catch.
Yeah.
Thank you for catching that.
I'm done.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
then I move we approve resolution 112722024-01, closing of the Snohomish County Emergency Medical Services Fund held at Snohomish County.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Next, we have proposed policy 27 updates regarding the FTE jacket option. Chief Tenhupen.
Good afternoon, Commission. This is, has to do with the package in your packet for the change, recommended change to policy 27, which is the uniform policy. It's regarding an optional jacket for the FTE personnel to wear. I have an actual sample of it here in my little show and tell box. And what it is specifically from a standpoint of, as mentioned in the packet, there are a lot of folks who have come to me over the last 3 years saying that the current jacket that we issue them doesn't fit them well, or they're not fans of it, what have you. And a lot of them have actually asked, hey, can we get the quilted jacket like you see throughout the United States in the fire service and regionally as well? There's a lot of departments that have it. So in speaking with Chief Cermak, we said, let's go ahead and submit a recommended second jacket as an option to wear at the member's expense. And from a uniformity standpoint, it would be quilted and with sewn patches on it. So this is a Chief Cermak sample jacket, so it has the county patch on it, the North County Fire patch on it. But for the FTEs, it would be the local IAFF Maltese Cross embroidered on the left chest. The right chest would be the individual's name embroidered on. The right sleeve would actually have their paramedic or EMT certification patch, and then the department patch on the left sleeve. And the backs would have embroidered, similar to like we have in our regular jacket. Matt, you want to stand up and just do a little turn? So that whole same similar type of thing, but you can't iron on that vinyl on this type of material, so it would be embroidered on. So that's what it looks like, just like the back of the the back of the jackets with the American flag sewn up top. So if anybody wants to take a look at this, it'll be. Everybody see it?
I mean, Leonard really wants to see it.
Okay, I'll turn it around. I am not the fire chief. My name is not John Cermak, but this is what it would look like. So there's the back.
It's nice.
Sorry, it's backwards, Leonard, but.
So there you go.
Looks good.
So this would be an authorized jacket to wear if this policy is approved, and any FTE member that'd like to have it would pay the money to purchase it, and it would be authorized to wear. So that would be some standardization and uniformity of the crew for those that choose to wear this jacket.
How much does a jacket cost?
For this, with the jacket and all the embroidery and stitching and patch sewn on, is $200 even, is what we get it for. The jackets that we issue to the folks are $425. So.
And they would be paying for these themselves?
Correct.
Because they are, adequately designed.
Per the CBA, they have a jacket that we as a department have authorized to and agreed to issue. For those that want to have an optional jacket to wear, they're allowed to then wear this at their own expense. And then it's only for the full-time employees, because once they leave the department, at whatever time they do, they can take the jacket with them and, wear it to Hagen or something like that, because they earned the jacket, as opposed to the revolving door that we have for FTEs. We wouldn't be able to have them pay $200 and 2 weeks later they're leaving.
PT.
They get hired. Part-time.
Revolving door, you said FTEs.
Oh, I apologize.
Oh, yeah, okay.
PTE, part-time employee.
Do we have any comments or questions on this from anyone?
No.
Do we have a motion?
The motion is there in the packet to recommend.
Rob, do you want to make it?
Sure. Motion to approve I move to approve the proposed updates to policy 27, authorize the approval of FTE to wear an approved optional quilted jacket purchased at their own expense.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have the chief's report.
All right. Thank you, commissioners. The first thing I think Kirk left, but Kirk and Greg brought up the process of putting this new position in place and reclassifying the position. Super excited. The enthusiasm of the people that showed up today to go through the interviews and make this happen was really enlightening, encouraging. Each person had a little bit different, something different to offer the process, and each of them would benefit us maybe at a different time, but at this time we chose today to, and I just put a video out to the whole department, so this shouldn't come as a total surprise, but we chose that MSO Brian Price would be chosen as the person for the MSO position. That is not a captain's position. It'll help him to develop into a captain, hopefully. And also for training officer Will King. Both of those individuals exuded and shared some qualities that I think will really meet the needs of the organization immediately to help us in this new position and setting up for the most successful outcome. That doesn't mean that the other people that were in the process don't offer some outstanding qualities, and we have plenty of work for probably everyone to do, but unfortunately limited resources of what we can do. So these two people I congratulate, and it is an assignment, so it's per the agreement is for the duration of this first contract, and then we would reevaluate the needs at the time, and they could reestablish and stay in that position, or we could put a new person in. But at this time, I feel that both of those individuals are best suited for the position, and congratulate each of them. And I'm really excited to see where we can take the organization as we continue to grow. So, very exciting day today. We participated in a call with Liz Loomis. We have placed the process on hold until after the first of the year to gain clarity on the process moving forward. Julian Gilman, Greg Kuntz, Jen Baxter, and Chief Kraske, we all conducted the quarterly JATC meeting that's required. Went well, and those minutes will be sent to them to continue that process and meet the requirements of that process. I attended the public safety and meeting and council meeting for the city of Stanwood. Chief Kraske, we had duplicates this week because Arlington's was on Monday, and so was Stanwood's because of Thanksgiving. So he went to that one. AC Tenhopen and I attended a flood preparation or preparedness meeting with the city of Stanwood as part of our emergency preparedness contract with them. I'm really excited about the work that Chief Tenhopen's done to provide flood updates and preparedness on a weekly basis at our staff meeting, and also sharing with our partners at Stanwood in predictive potential and keeping everyone on the same page in case we have floods again. The consortium chiefs, fire chiefs met and discussed current and future consortium development. South County Fire has created a task force to continue the discussions and direction of regionalizing all county fire department training resources and programs. I think there's a lot of hard work being done. I think Chief Kraske attends occasionally, and Chief Kuntz as available, but a lot of progress happening there for regionalizing training, which translates into better, consistent operations across lines, city lines. I mean, fires don't know the difference between a boundary of Marysville and North County. So we need to be able to respond together, speak the same language, and by training together, we get that. So I think that's a benefit to the people that we serve. So that is fun to watch. I attended the quarterly advisory committee meeting with EVCC for the fire science program. They're going through quite a bit of changes with changeover of educational personnel and management personnel at that organization. So we look forward to see them restructure and rebuild. We conducted chiefs interviews for all of the for potential captains promotions, but due to lack of interest for the newly created positions, there will be no promotion at this time for captain. The interest wasn't there, so at this point, it's firefighters moving into a MSO position for additional experience that will hopefully help them in promoting to captain when that time comes available. Commissioner Ertley, Oaks, and I met for Fire District 21 with Fire District 21 Commissioner Nordstrom and Chief Schmidt regarding the current mitigation to the lawsuit. I shared that update in old business. The negotiations committee met with Local 3438 again. This day was solely and primarily to complete the language that was associated with the MOUs that we signed and agreed to. And we had timeframes that were extremely tight. And as Kirk Norman shared, there was a ton of work done by their group and Allison after hours and other people that just was incredible. It was a ton. So a closed session meeting was held to inform the commission of that outcome, as you guys know, and I think was informative. No action taken. Didn't constitute a public meeting because it was just closed session. So we did that. And with that, my final piece is, as tradition will have it, we, Chief Kraske and a committee took and redesigned our badge as we merged the organization into a Maltese Cross badge, and we ordered them for our commissioners. And our new commissioners were not issued those, and I have one for Commissioner Buchanan, Sloan Buchanan. It would not fit Sloan Buchanan, so she
It just
agreed
says
that we should
Buchanan.
put Buchanan on it. And we have, whenever Commissioner Schreiber and Kelly are in, we have badges in your mailbox. And the tradition continues, and we thank you for your service, and you guys are valuable part of our team that have more than earned the badges for this position. So thank you for that, and we appreciate you. And with that, I wish everyone, the people watching out in YouTube land and all of our people visiting today, a very, very happy Thanksgiving, and please don't eat too much. But happy Thanksgiving to all of you also.
Thank you. Okay, under the next item is board discussion. Do we have any commissioner comments?
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
I do.
Oh, well, okay.
Okay, I was scheduled to do 2 ride-alongs, and the second ride-along happened to be the monthly meeting day. And it was just this treat of being able to sit there and listen to the discussion of everybody. I was just impressed. And they also had a speaker come in you have a new life pack, and went through how to use this life pack. And it was just fun listening to that, of seeing what was going to be added to the stations, or I guess to the rigs, not to the stations. And then just knowing that Dr. Corsa was present through this whole thing, and at the end, what he did is he took examples, good and bad, and then reviewed those of the different events. Events is the wrong, pardon? Outcomes, yeah, and going over them with the firefighters of what could they have done differently, or they did this well, and just reinforcing that was done well. So it was an accidental, wonderful day. So that was good.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. Anyone else have a comment or anything for the good of the order? Okay, then I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.